So here we are, episode 2 of Black Swan Theory, and I have a dear friend of mine, a member of Game 7 Radio, a Renaissance woman. I worked on that. I have been working on what I wanted to say, but a true Renaissance woman who is doing so many things and has her hand in so many different things. And as I shared earlier, Black Swan Theory is about, I really want to look at the DNA of what makes people, what drives people, and what motivates them, and how do they overcome obstacles in their life. So I really want to talk about that. So first off, I want to introduce my friend, Meka Carey. So I guess I want to start off, you got your hands on a lot of things now, but like going back to high school, what was your career ambitions? And let's start there.
So in high school, I actually wanted to be an accountant.
Okay.
And I wanted to be an accountant because someone told me in the 5th grade, because I was so good at math. I think his name is Manderson. If you know anything about the last name Manderson, it's big money in Tuscaloosa.
That's right.
I used to work for them. And he told me, he said, "You're so good at math, you're going to be an accountant." And for whatever reason, 5th grade me said I was going to be an accountant. High school, my slap book, you remember my books? I wanted to be an accountant. Went to the UA to take accounting classes. It sucked.
What part?
It's boring as hell. It is tedious. I'm sorry. Let me close out these windows so you won't be getting all these dings on your thing.
No problem.
But it's tedious. Like, you got to start over if you were over from a cent. Accounting is easier now because everything is automated. You got to remember, I was in the 1900s going to school.
Right.
And so everything was done on a ledger. And so if you got down to the bottom of that ledger and it was a penny off, you had to start all the way over. I'm going to do this. Because I get bored with tedious. Like, I like to figure puzzles out, but I don't like tedious things. And so I took my accounting 1 and my accounting 2 class. Now I fell in love with the tax part, but just the regular accounting, I just fell out of love with it. It just was mundane. It was every day. You talking about every day I'm going to come in and do this? Everybody do something else. And then life happened because, I was a teenage mom. I had my daughter at 19. And so priorities change because the older kids get, the more expensive they get. People think babies are expensive. That ain't nothing like a toddler. They get more expensive. And so working full time became my thing. And I think that's when my Jackie of all trades began, because I've never mind work, and I worked a little bit of everything. And so with the jobs that I've done, I've just been in so many different industries. It's just made me a knower of so many things, if that makes sense. And so with leaving the UA, I left the UA because I started working full time for the sheriff's department. Back then, the sheriff's department, that's state, that's benefits. I'm making more money than my mama at the time. So, big dog, and so school took a back burner.
Right. It's going to definitely take a back burner as soon as you start seeing the money coming in.
So, you're talking about making the same salary as a teacher, people that are in school and having to get certified. And so my whole thing was just taking care of my child. And so the most important thing was working full time, because you're going to school full time, you're working part time, you're doing all these different things, and she getting older. She's starting to act up when I'm going away. So it's not the same as when she was a baby, when I could just walk away. But she got older, knowing that her mom is leaving. So I just got a full-time job where I can just do this thing 40 hours a week, and I can spend with my child. So I left school alone. So, and then just started to work.
So after the sheriff's department, when did you get into like the banking realm of things?
So I got into the banking thing. I went from the sheriff's department to I worked in a call center. I went from a call center to working in real estate. Real estate lived in Nucor. Nucor, people think that these places are good jobs. Oh, this is a good job, I was so unhappy at Nucor because it's a boys club. You know what I'm saying? And it's so disgusting. So it's a boys club. It's the way people talk to you. It was like a hostile environment. And I took some time off because I had the money. I was like, okay, I got this money over here. I said I was going to take 6 months off. I was bored. I was back at work in 4 weeks. I spent so much money in 2 weeks. I redecorated my bathroom. I did all this stuff and I actually got bored. And so it gave me an opportunity to start looking into things. And that's when I got into finance. I started selling.
Let me just ask you this question really quick. When you started spending that money, did you start getting scared?
Yes. And the crazy thing is I had more money in savings than I had ever had in my whole life.
Right.
But as I'm spending it and nothing is coming in.
That's what, yep.
Oh my
God. Yes.
I got to do something. And so I gotten on one of these sites in Liberty National. Sent me a thing, life insurance. I'm like, let me go see. I went to go see. Let me tell you how lackluster I was about that job. So I interview, they give me the job, no big deal. I don't even tell nobody I got the job. I go for training. I go to work I start my official day on a Wednesday. I work that Wednesday and Thursday. They have meetings on Friday. This ain't no real job. I ain't going Friday. F y'all in y'all meeting. I don't go. I go home because I got braids to do. Because I do hair, taxes, I got braids to do. That's $200. I'm going to get this $200 because I don't know. I did these. I wrote 2 insurance policies. 2. Ain't a whole bunch of money. Pick up your check. F that check. I got money in the bank. I put that little check in the bank. My manager came by my house to drop off my check. And I told her, put it on the table. She said, no, I want you to open it. I'm like, whatever. So I tell the girl, I said, excuse me, I go open it. It was a $600 check. I wrote 2 policies and made $600. See, I'm motivated by money. So you trying to tell me I put this little effort in and I get money?
Did this lady, obviously she came to your house, this somebody you knew?
I didn't know her. I met her on the job. Her name was Brooksy. Shout out to Brooksy folks.
Okay. But Brooksy must have saw something in you to know that you opening that envelope was going to change your thoughts.
She had to have known but she saw also that I was really good, because once I became a manager, I understood what she saw. A lot of people don't take that job serious. I had professionalism. I knew people. I had contacts. I was able to get those because you start out with people that you know. And I was able to talk to people, and I believe in life insurance. So life insurance, period. Like, I believe in it. So it was an easy sale. You know what I'm saying? But it just didn't seem like work because it was so easy. And she gave me that $600 check, and I'm like, I only worked, and I didn't work a full day on Wednesday. It was like I maybe did 6 appointments. You know what I'm saying? So she gave me that $600 check. I said, okay, I'll see you Monday. My bad. I'm sorry I didn't show up Friday. Still went in there and half-assed it. Still wasn't really giving it my all. I would set my appointments. Tank was living in Atlanta at the time. I would set my appointments. I was off every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sometimes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because if you make your week, in my mind, I'm done because you had a quota to feed. Me not thinking about going over. I'm just trying to meet my quota, if that makes sense. Whatever's over, good. I don't care, because at the time, that's $1,500 a week. And we talking about, what's this? Is Jay born? Yeah, he was here because it was after I got a divorce. So you're talking about early 2000s. So $1,500 a week.
$1,500, good money. Really,
that's good money now. That's, but I'm just saying that was great money then.
Yes.
I'm going to Atlanta. The kids going to Atlanta to kick it with my friend. So, Michelle Coley. She owns Coley, the Coley agency, Allstate brand here.
Shout out to Coley agency.
Yes, we're still real good friends to this day. She asked me to go to lunch, and I was like, okay. She took me to lunch. She said, why are you so crazy? What are you talking about? She said, you have so much potential. She said, you're super smart. You got this job so fast. You have so much earning potential. You could be making $3,000 a week versus it's $1,500. And in my mind, y'all just want me to make more money because it'll make you more money. I'm always checking out the game. You know your friend. I always check out the game. So I do know the more money I make, the more my unit manager make. But you better get the rest of your folks to make money, because I'm telling you $1,500. Because I ain't gonna, that's good enough, because I'm also thinking this job is not going to last long. So get it while you can get it. until you have to go somewhere working full time because you're going to be stuck from Monday to Friday. So get this money while you can, because when it's in, you can go on. I ended up staying there for 2.5 years.
Wow.
The only reason why I left, and that's how I got into banking, the only reason why I left is because of the 2008 economy. The economy tanked.
No one had any money for life insurance, to be thinking about life insurance.
I went from making $1,500 a week to $1,500 a month. And there was no way I could survive off of that because I bought a home. You know, I just had made some moves. And so I started working at Wells Fargo, not knowing that my license, my insurance license was considered financial because we sold annuities, life insurance, all that stuff, that I was already in the financial realm. And that parlayed me into going to Wells Fargo as a personal banker. And then that's where it started. 15 years, life insurance, Wells Fargo, Compass, and Alabama One.
And you were, your last job before you dived completely into the entrepreneurial world was, how long were you at?
I was at the credit union almost 6 years. I left 2 months before I was there for 6 years.
Okay, so I'm going to dive into a specific time just because I know, because I was there. Let's fast forward to 2020.
Okay.
And let's just discuss how Love Sharon kind of was started. How it was created.
Man, I cannot do anything. And I know people think that's cliche, but it's got to be all God. I wasn't making nothing besides greens and neck bones. Like I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't even have an interest in the personal product kind of thing. And the pandemic hit. We in the house. You know, I mean, I'm at work every day, but the doors are closed. I don't have any interaction except for with my staff. I don't have any interaction when I get home besides my children. I had a couple friends that I was allowing to come over into theirs and ended up getting COVID. And so, you know, you're being hyper vigilant at home. And I'm like, I can't travel. I can't do these things. These are my outlets. My kids are finally at an age where I can do whatever I want to, and I can't do anything because the world is closed. Then I got sick. I started not feeling well. So I started having issues. I was having a lot of pain, and went to the doctor. They told me what was wrong. And my surgery went until December. So I started looking at health remedies and pain things that I could do that was natural, because nobody wants to take a pill all the time. I know I don't.
That's right.
And so I started looking into things. And then at 2:00 in the morning, I'm up on TikTok, my favorite new app that they're trying to ban, by the way, my favorite new app. And it was a young lady on there, and she was giving game about how to make body butter and natural deodorant. I'm bored. Okay, it's Friday. I'm getting up Saturday morning. I'm going to Hobby Lobby because I done went online to see they got all this stuff I need. Because I done wrote down and saved the video, and I done wrote down the ingredients. I go to Hobby Lobby. I make it, and I cannot tell you that it's something woke in me that I just wanted to continue. So I started buying books. I started taking classes online, and again, it was a hobby. And I started making pain reliever.
Classes. When you say classes online, like for my soon to be audience, for my audience, what classes are online are available for something?
So you have Coursera, which they used to be free, but of course, capitalism.
Of course.
They started charging. Well, I mean, but the course is still a super affordable, $59, $39. It just depends on what you consider affordable and what you consider investing in yourself. And so Coursera had a class on aromatherapy. So I took that course. And it just tells you how essential oils can benefit all these different things, how essential oils and another oil can help clear your skin up, how it can help relieve pain. And so I started studying that. And then I bought this book. It's like a little book I got off Amazon. I can't think of the name, but I bought a book about natural herbs and things of that nature. And then, the Khan Academy also has courses and stuff you can get. You can pay monthly, or you can just pay for the course. And I can't remember the other. And it's so crazy because, of course, you know, your computer keeps a track of whatever you do. So I started emails about this skincare course, and it was like $500. And I'm saying, oh, do you want to spend $500? Girl, you better spend that $500, because it really delved in formulas. Like it gave you the formulas of how much to mix. And you only need 1% of that, because no matter what you're mixing, you don't need to have so much essential oil in there because it'll change your formula and it'll break you out. So all of that stuff is important. And so I just started investing in there because where I was going, I want to take flights.
Right.
So I got into a system where
you weren't going downtown.
Yeah, nowhere. Outside and looking around. Because I have a picture in my phone. I went to stay at the embassy just to clear my mind. And I got a picture in my phone. It almost looked like an apocalypse movie. Downtown on a Saturday evening. It was hard. And it was the saddest thing I had ever seen in my life. The saddest thing. So we were in a new time. We ain't never had to stay in a house like that before.
No, not at all. I and not to jump off, but I was just looking at my Facebook memories, and I'm gonna actually post about it. But I had posted something about the Madam C.J. Walker movie, and you remember our personal group chat about talking about that. And during that time, we had such an intimate relationship with our television that we had never had before. You know what I mean? Yes, like the way that I watched that Tiger King, and during that time was different than I watched anything before. But it was, we had to. I think we had something to invest in because we had nothing else to invest our time or energy in. But I'm sorry, I'll.
And again, like I said, like Tiger King became such a big thing. I don't even know if it would have been that huge if it wasn't for the pandemic.
I don't think it would have.
Because it was stupid. It was so stupid. It was good.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that probably would have not gotten a click, because it's not like we had that many hours to watch television, first off, during that time. So I don't think it would have been one of those things that just kind of went by the wayside if it wouldn't have been for COVID.
For the pandemic. And so just got into it. And then I was making it and passing it around. So passing it around.
At this point, is it on your mind a little bit?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
Okay. All right.
But it really got on my mind when my aunt said, hey, I ran out of that deodorant. I'd rather use it than go to the store, make me some. How much you gonna charge me? Then I had a friend say, oh, I like that body butter you made me. Can you make me some more? How much you'll charge me? It's like, wait. Co-workers, hey, I really like that stuff you gave me for my hair. Can you make me some more? I'll pay you for it. And so I sat down and I ran it by my auntie, and I did this for two reasons. I thought my aunt was going to talk me out of it. Because my aunt is she's not old school because I wouldn't consider her necessarily old school because she's 11 years older than me, but she's still from that thing where you go to work, you retire, then you die. So I'm thinking she's going to talk me out of it. So I said, what you think about me, doing this for a business? She got her phone. She asked me what my account number is. Now, this is somebody that don't hardly know how to use technology, but I had taught her how to transfer money from her account to mine. She said, she gave me $100. She was my first investor. She said, I want you to continue to buy stuff. She said, because you got something here. I was like, now, if she said that out of all people, and that is how it started, just her vote of confidence, because I was really thinking her to go the other way. And she said to make it a business.
And I want to pause there for 1 second, because I think when I talked about like the DNA, like these are those things that we don't know the impact we have on providing positive, positive feedback or positive reinforcement to people. We don't know what we can create by that. Sometimes I think we as people, or even like our elders, we look at other people's history as reasons of not going out and trying things. So it's so important to be that positive influence, for others. So just like that teacher you had.
Right. To at least just go see, because the pandemic taught me something else. And I said it to Tank and Carey. I said, I used to talk about people trying to get into the rap game in their 40s. The pandemic taught me life is short. Do whatever you want to do, even if you get booed. I mean, because the world is harsh enough, and people will let you know if you don't have the talent, if it's not good enough or something like that. you just have to test it and you have to try it. But we should never stop, especially if it's not harmful to them. Of course, we want nobody to harm themselves. But if you're trying to do something positive, something that you want to do, we got to do better about encouraging each other to do it, to at least try it. Like you said, that little nay thing is what may stop some greatness. You don't know what possibly stop. And so for the fact that she was so positive toward it, it was like, wait, hold up. And so I ran it by my friends. And again, they was like, okay. When I tell you people have trust in me that I just could not imagine, because I'm operating regular. Does that make sense? Like I'm operating the way that Tamika knows how to operate. I go in, figure things out. Every job I've been on, I learn everything. That's how I learned computers, because computers became really, really popular during the time I started the sheriff's department. And we had computer-aided dispatch and Microsoft Office. We didn't have to learn that. But guess what I did in my downtime? I learned how to build Excel spreadsheets. I learned how to use Word. I taught myself how to use those applications because I was just bored. I don't like being bored. And so every job I've had, there's something in it that I've learned that has helped me in the next job. I was managing before. I was given my managing job because I was already managing. Because my manager wasn't managing. And my branch was turning to crap. And I couldn't stand coming to work and them being in it was just always so much mess. And so I started having meetings with them and saw, hey, we can't be acting like that because I'm not coming in here. And that's how I got my manager job. I didn't apply for it. They came in my office, sat down and offered it to me in a pay raise. And I was like, oh, okay, because I told you I'm motivated by money.
Right.
So and that's what I try to tell people. You can't get complacent. You always got to be trying to be the best at whatever you are and getting the best out of whatever you're doing. And so I know it has helped me, because even with me running the branch, 2020 taught me so much because everybody was shorthanded everywhere they were. And so for me, we were so shorthanded. I did everything at my branch except for run a drawer because I just refused. I probably could have, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to money like that. But I did every single thing because we were so shorthanded. And one day I cried. I sat at my desk and I cried because I was tired. I was exhausted of running like that full force when no help gets to a point where it's just tiring. And then when I started doing the business, if I'm gonna work hard like this, I'd rather work hard for myself.
And and at some point we all get, even though as you said about being motivated by money, at some point, and I think everybody in life has to get there at some point, you realize like, shit, this money's not,
it ain't worth
it's not, it's not worth it. Because me and you both have experienced leaving good jobs because the money was good jobs.
Right.
Oh man.
but then the thing is, were they really good?
Right. Were they good for us?
Right, because and I think people look at good jobs as benefits and money, but it wasn't feeding me in any kind of way. It really was just draining me. And pre-pandemic, I was happy with my job, or so I thought. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know what that shift was. Again, I give it all to God, because again, none of that stuff, I had no clue that I would be interested in until that TikTok video. And then I just realized my happiness wasn't tied in money. My happiness tied in trips, food. What my happiness is, and seeing my kids happy, being around my friends, because even our friendship, most of my friendships got tighter. The other friendships kind of dissolved because you had to put forth effort. And so I just stopped messing with the people that weren't putting forth effort. You know what I'm saying? Because at least we had game 7. We got our group chat. I got group chats with my other girlfriends, the Zoom calls that we would do to just kind of connect. Just realizing and we was losing so many people. I mean, every time you turn around, it was RIP, or somebody was sick or had been in the hospital for 2 months. It was a reality check. I don't know about everybody else, but it was a reality check for me.
Oh, it's definitely a reality check. And for anybody out there that there is Game 7 out there, old episodes. And there was one thing I was sharing that, like, if you go back and listen to early COVID Game 7 when it first popped, like, we were so ignorant. Like, we were so...
We were just happy to be here.
we did not know what was coming around the corner. But yeah, so you made the decision, a big decision of leaving a career job to taking on an opportunity on bidding on yourself, which I think for anybody out there, if they're at some point in your life, give it a try. Like bet on yourself. You bet on a whole lot of other people, bet, bet on yourself. So, what was the moment when you decided I'm going to bet? When did you? Where was the culmination? What was that moment when you were like, it's time for me to bet on myself?
So when the most eye-opening thing for me was to see my business come from an idea to an actual storefront. Mm-hmm. When that email went out and said that Love Sharon was live and you can order, mm-hmm. that was huge because I have thought and created so many things. I have a notebook right here. I got notebooks and notebooks where I just jot down ideas. I got ideas in my phone, but I never jump off the porch. I always stay on the porch with them because who gonna do that or who gonna support it or ain't don't nobody want that or so many people are doing it. But the fact that I took an ideal, I went from an outline to an actual store that I built, an online store that I built. And people were buying, people were excited. When I did the first whole marketing thing about guess what's coming and all of that, and people were jumping in my inbox, what you finna do? Like the response let me know I was going in the right direction. Mm-hmm. And so after that first 2 days, and I had 50 orders to ship, I was like, yeah. So I made a plan. The plan was to make it to February 2022. That was the plan because I prayed about it and I was told to leave. Mm-hmm. That's what I came in my prayers. It was some things that it told I needed to leave. And so February 2022, I was going to try to stick it out. Mm-hmm. Well, my immediate boss, now my boss above him, we still cool to this day. We got the same birthday. So, he still texts me happy birthday. I text him happy birthday. We ain't friends or nothing, but we have a mutual respect for each other. He's the one that gave me the position or whatever. He called me in his office. Some things had happened during the pandemic that I had warned them about because you cannot continue to run shorthanded the way that we were, and mistakes were not going to be made. And a couple things happened. And the crazy thing is, one of them was on my watch, but not necessarily my mistake, but I was in charge. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But the other things, as far as staffing and people he had put over there that had lost their jobs, it had nothing to do with me, but for whatever reason, he was trying to make it about me. Mm-hmm. And I have to be offended. Once I'm offended, I'll leave a relationship, I'll leave a friendship. I put up with a lot, but if you offend me or make me feel like I'm stupid, I'm out. Mm-hmm. And so that interaction, and the first thing that rose up in my spirit, I told you to leave. I didn't tell you to wait to February. That was you. Mm-hmm. And I came home and I try to do most things in prayer because I'm such a spontaneous person. I want to do this. And so I try to slow down and pray. And I sat there and I wrote the most eloquent resignation letter. Mm-hmm. And I told them that I would give them 4 weeks since I was in management. And but I told them it was negotiable because I know they had to find somebody to find me, and I was willing to stretch that out and we could talk about it or whatever. And I went to sleep. Like, I typed this letter in my bed, I put it in my notes, and I emailed it to myself so I could copy and paste it. Mm-hmm. And I went to sleep. And I felt so good that weekend making a decision. You would think I'd be scared.
Right.
I felt so good about it because I really did believe in my business, and I believe in me because there's so much stuff that I could do. That's another thing. You can't do this without believing in yourself. You have to know your capabilities. And once you start believing in yourself, it's amazing. Mm-hmm. I can't explain it. And again, I would have never believed it if I wouldn't have started Love Sharon from the get-go. Like, if lovesharon.com wouldn't have went live, I'd still been in Alabama 1. Mm-hmm. But it was completing that task. And I came out here and I put in that notice. And when I left that day, they were like, you said, I'm scared, but I ain't scared.
Now, going back to the letter you wrote, How many edits did you have to do on that letter?
None.
First
First draft.
First draft.
Mm-hmm. I thank them.
Wouldn't have been me.
I mean, because, and I wasn't even angry at my immediate boss. I was disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up apologizing on my last day, because I ended up staying 6 weeks. We negotiated 6 weeks. And everybody was so nice to me, and they hated to see me leave, gave me a going away party. And he came and apologized to me the last day. I even was offered another position because I did tell them I didn't want to be in management anymore. In 2020, I told them I'm burnt out. I don't want to do this no more. I want to do something else. And plus, I wanted to learn something else, because I had planned on opening up my own credit union one day. That ain't off the table. But
nothing's off the table.
Nothing. And so I wanted to create my own credit union. And the only way you can learn how to do that if you get more and more in depth in the organization. And so I wanted to do something else. And so they kept putting me off. And then I found out that another department wanted me. And they told them that I wasn't available. Nobody offered it to me. Nobody asked me. They just told me it was off the table. And so I went ahead and thanked them, because, again, I learned so much at Alabama One. All the places I've worked, I learned the most at Alabama One, because at a smaller organization, you get to be in meetings that you normally wouldn't be in. Wells Fargo would have never let me be in marketing meetings and new product meetings and, all those things. So I knew when branches were going to be built. I knew about the money that was coming in. I knew where we were making our money from. Like, I was able to sit in on these meetings. And so it was so much that I learned. And marketing meetings and all these sales classes and things of that nature. So I thank them for those opportunities, because I'm not mad at Alabama One. I got attitude with one person. Alabama One didn't get nothing to me, and it was just my time to leave. So it wasn't the fact that I was leaving Alabama One because I was mad. I had served my time there. It just didn't serve its purpose anymore.
Right.
So it was easy to write that letter, because it really wasn't even about Alabama One at that time. It was just time for me. I had outgrown it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we don't know when to close a chapter. You know what I mean? We'll let a chapter go a year or 2 years too long sometimes, and it's so important to be in there. And going back to something that you said, and I actually had my interview with Joe yesterday. And one thing that we discussed and talked about was, like, I know that management isn't for everyone, but some people have a skill set, but they just don't want to do it. But one part of it that I think is extremely important is one thing that you said is, like, we need to be in that room. It is so important about having representation in those rooms, of knowing what's going on instead of just allowing things to happen. Because one thing that I said to him is that we sometimes think that people are doing something against us. Sometimes they just don't know, because we don't have anybody in the room to say, that's not a good idea. Or have you thought about this? Some people, when they don't, you don't know what you don't know. And I think it's extremely important that if you have that skill set, to not only just be in the room, but use your voice and be an influence in those rooms.
Yeah, because even when I left, I would get text messages. We got a managers meeting today. We need you. There ain't nobody talking. Because I'm just that person. And I used to think, the crazy thing, Javon, is, like, years ago, it took a long time for me to be comfortable with who I am, if that makes sense. Because I'm like, oh my God, I'm just an ass. So I always got something to say. But then when I got in management, me always having something to say solved issues. Or other people like, yeah, I'm having that problem. So sometimes I would have to start the conversation, but other people would chime in because I'm brave enough to say it. So it's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things that I thought was bad about me really is not bad. Because I used to tell my background person, I am not the pips. I actually am glad. So
no, we're not going to do that on this show, Meka. No, we're not going to do that on this one here. I'll call them right now.
Y'all started it. But like, I always ran the background, always, holding things in, not wanting to say anything, not wanting to shake the table. But that's how, like you said, you don't usher change when you're afraid to speak up and say something. because upper management has no idea what a day-to-day running of a branch is, because they're not in the branch running it day-to-day.
No.
So coming up with this grand ideal that's not going to work, I'll be like, hey, let me tell you what really happens in the world. And that gives them an opportunity to tweak it. But if you sit there and just take it, then you go back to your branch and call me on the phone. That just don't make
Yep.
So I was just always that. I used to call myself the little troublemaker. And so I'll just, and that's just how I am in life. If it ain't right, it just ain't right. Hey,
that's right. Moving on to being 2 years in the game now.
Yes.
That's awesome. What would you say has been your biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge is motivation. You have to be a self-motivator. You have to my house fell apart in 2021, and I had savings. I had a plan because I'm a planner. And so all that's gonna go to shit. I'm just gonna tell you, whoever listening, it's going to go to shit because your plans is not. It's just one of your best laid plans are going to. And so I had to use my savings to fix my house. And then I had I had somebody say, well, file it on your insurance. Let me tell you about homeowners insurance. Your house got to fall apart before they don't they don't fix water lines.
Right.
They don't fix furnaces. They don't fix all these things. And so in 1 week, I had to have a furnace repaired, a water line redug up. Some of my floor was dug up. And so you're talking about expensive. I was trying to be grateful because I had the money to take care of it. But then my security net is gone. I've had to humble myself and ask people for money. I don't do that. I don't do that. But I am grateful enough to have people in my life that were willing to do that. So you got to be a self-motivator. You got to be strong, and you have to be a visionary. You got to see stuff when you don't see it. You got to know. I wake up broke some days. I make a video or make a post, and I may make $200-$300 for that day. I wasn't making it at work. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have capabilities of making more money than what I usually make. But I have that now. I can do that via social media. I can do that via a social media blast. I can run a sale and, make some money or whatever. And so you have to be a visionary, and you have to be a self-motivator, because if you're not, you might as well stay at your job.
Yep. And one thing I want to add on to what you said was, another thing is, for anybody out there who's thinking about starting their own business, whatever it's online or, a retail store, is you got to start. Because, like if you're waiting for, my old boss used to say, perfection is the enemy of good. Like if you're waiting for it to be perfect for your idea to have everything, it's not. Like there's going to be a whole different set of challenges. The best thing to do is to start. And, there's going to be a whole bunch of shit you're just going to have to figure out along the way. And you can go to Harvard, you can go to where there's going to be some things that you're going to face this.
And you may fail.
You may fail. You
may have to pivot. Just because I'm not working full time doesn't mean I've not had to work for other people. I've had to have part-time gigs. Oh, and I leave a job so quick. Ooh, a part-time. Ooh, I'd quit a job so quick. Ooh, I don't like the way you looked at me today. I don't want to be here. So, because it's part-time, it's only days a week. So, you just have to learn how to adjust. You have to learn how to pivot, and you have to figure out how bad do you want it. Because if you want it, you'll work for it.
And it's the process. The process is so important. It's just like going through the process. And there is, I think that there's a big misconception about failing. Like there is nothing in the world wrong with failing, because it's like the process. The process is so important, that you learn other things. Like if you didn't go through all of the things that you went through in your life, if you didn't you didn't start off at Liberty, if you didn't at that chef's department and learning Excel. Like all of those things are a culmination of where you can be and you know what you can become. I'll give you a perfect example. So you know, I have my flea flickers business. And you know the importance of posting. I have slowly realized that I love editing. Like I love editing more than I love a lot of things that has to do with my business. Could be something that I'm enjoy playing around with, but that's just what it is you don't know what you're going to end up falling in love with unless you go through the process. There's a lot of actors out there, really good actors, who realize like I'd rather just direct, you know what I mean? It's just right. Like going, you know,
because you until you go through the process you have no clue. Content creation. Shout out to Dan Trill. I lost him October 2021. He created my logo. He's the reason I tell people all the time, he's the reason I'm on TikTok. Oh, you funny. I'm like, I ain't that funny. You're funny. You need to get on TikTok. People need to see your personality. That's how you're going to build your brand. I don't want to get on TikTok. I've had my most success on, you know, on TikTok. I've built an audience. My family, I don't like to call them followers. You know, people check on me when I don't post in a couple of days. If they see my post, where you been? I'm like, I was today, you know. It's like I built my family. Even with the Start On coming up, I have people say I just purchased my ticket, you know. I mean, because that's what promoters are looking for.
Okay, let's set that up a little bit better.
Okay.
Well, okay, what's going on at the Start On?
Oh, I am opening one of the openers for Steve Brown at the Start On. And I get to do 5 shows.
5 shows. That's Birmingham, Alabama. That's Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay. April 14th, 15th, and 16th. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Comedy Club Start On.
Comedy Club Start On. And let me tell you, last time I went to the Start On, it was this winter. I don't know if it was the first of this year. It hadn't been long, but I sat there and I told my homegirl, I'm gonna be on this stage, even though I had to come for amateur night. So to get that invitation, it was just like a full circle moment, because you got to be delusional. You got to be delusional. You got to believe it. You have to say things out loud to set the intention. You have to put it in your mind and your body. But I was getting on that Start On. And I had already looked at the Stand Up Live about their amateur night. But I ain't got to be on amateur night at the Start On. I'm still going on amateur night. But my first thing is not amateur night. Okay.
Congratulations. So proud of you on that. I had, running on time, I got a couple more questions that I'm going to ask you. And I guess one is, if you had to go back to 20-year-old Tamika, what would one piece of advice you would tell her?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. And everything that is going to happen to you is only going to make you the better person. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. I really wish I could hug 20-year-old Tamika. You are absolutely fine. And a lot of the shit that your exes did is their fault.
I said one. See, that's what.
Years ago, I would tell her she is perfect. She is okay. She is okay.
What would you say to an aspiring entrepreneur?
Just get your circle right. If your circle can't see the bigger picture, they don't need to be your circle. If your circle is not cheerleading you, then you need another circle. Your circle matters, because when you ran out of gas, it's gonna be your circle. Them group chats, whether y'all know it or not, when I be putting stuff in there and y'all give me, I mean, that keeps me going. That keeps the battery in my back. My homegirls, if your friends can't encourage you, you don't need that circle. If your friends can't see the bigger picture, if your friends stuck in a 9 to 5 and they don't want to do anything else, that don't mean they can't be your friend, but that ain't your circle.
That's right.
Don't discuss your business with them. Don't discuss nothing, because you don't want anybody, but your circle is important.
And just to add on to that, and if your circle, if you've got to bite your tongue on your success because you're worried about how it's going to be received, that's really not your circle. I mean, you just need just a longer handed spoon. You know, you can deal with people, but you just need to be very aware if they're
they
not
think you're bragging. That's not
if and not even if they think you're bragging, but if you in the back, if you subconsciously, if you have to subconsciously think like, I can't tell them I'm going to Chicago next week. You know, like those are people that you shouldn't deal with in a close circle basis. Meka, I appreciate you. Thank you for being open to being a part of my show. I told my goal is my first 3 people were going to be Game 7.